Welcome to today's broadcast of Wareham Gatemen Baseball here on WCTV Wareham Community Television. Today the Gatemen taking on the Harwich Mariners out of the Eastern Division, a big interconference matchup, and we have a doubleheader in store for you guys today. First game starting at about 4 p.m. just coming up here. Second game scheduled for around 6:30, 7 o'clock, depending on when the first game ends, of course. The Gatemen already 1-0 versus the Harwich Mariners this season. That was a 9-0 win that came all the way back in the second game of the season on June 19th. And in that game was a pretty impressive performance. Excuse me, that was not June 19th. That was quite a bit before that. That was June 16th. And on that game, the Gatemen put up 7 runs in the 6th inning, batting around. RBIs around the board for Andy Shatter, John Topo, Robbie Metz in that game, and a pretty impressive performance from some guys who are no longer with the team, Brandon Lockridge, Garrett Zeck being a few of those guys, as we're almost ready for the national anthem. But before that, we will run quickly through today's Gatemen starting lineup, and if we have time, we'll go through the Harwich lineup before they come to bat. For the Gatemen leading off, it's going to be Jaron Duran playing second base. Kyle Kasser is at short. He'll hit second. Tristan Pompey is DHing. He will hit third. William McIver is at third base. He'll hit cleanup. Luke Bonfield is in right. He'll hit fifth. Jake Anchia is catching. He'll hit sixth. Blake Sable is at first base. He'll hit seventh. John Topa is hitting eighth. He's in left. And Tanner Dodson rounds out the Gatemen order in center field. Interesting that Tanner Dodson in center field today. He pitched yesterday. About 2 2/3 innings, did not have his greatest outing, giving up 2 earned runs and 4 hits in that game for Tanner Dodson. But now a completely different role out there in center field. He has that cannon out here in deep center at Wareham. It's 412 to center field here, as a football stadium also fits out here in Spillane Field in Wareham. So odd dimensions here in Wareham, but the Gatemen have certainly been making work, especially Tristan Pompey, who in his one game here at Spillane Field hit 2 3-run home runs out to right field. One which was way out of this ballpark, out into that other softball field next door. So a little bit more of that power from Tristan Pompey could certainly benefit the Gatemen today. As today's starter, Joey Matulovic, taking the mound. He's been pretty impressive this year for Wareham. Matulovic, a 0.00 ERA coming into today, and that's not in a short workload either. He's actually the only pitcher in the Cape Cod League right now with more than .8 innings pitched per game who also holds that 0.00 ERA. So Joey Matulovic out of California, look for him to have another good outing today. And he's going against Tyler Baum out of the Harwich Mariners, who comes in today with a 1.08 ERA, 0-1 on the season, and 8 1/3 innings pitched total, giving up 1 earned run, 5 walks to 9 strikeouts for Harwich, as we're ready for the national anthem here in Wareham. a phenomenal rendition of the national anthem by our very own Jacob Toby, who is one of the other broadcasters here on this Wareham Gatemen staff this year, coming back for his second season, but also a very talented singer. So that's some great stuff out of Jacob Toby, friend and co-worker here for the Wareham Gatemen, as the Harwich Mariners are about set to bat first here in this game here on June 25th, game number 12 for the Wareham Gatemen this season. They come into today 4-7. The Harwich Mariners come into today at 4-6-1. That one tie was a 0-0 draw against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on last week's doubleheader for the Mariners. A very rare occurrence, especially with that one extra inning that they went, a 0-0 tie. So some impressive pitching on this Mariners roster for sure. As we welcome our very own Matt Weaselther. Is it
Weaselther? It's
very hard to pronounce.
It's okay.
We'll never get it.
Luckily for you, I'm not on the field, so a lot of the time you don't want to say my name, including the fact that I'm usually producing, not commentating. But today I got the lucky chance to hit the mic.
Absolutely. Out here at WCTV, we found another mic for Matt to use, and he's on board with the color commentary today as the Wareham Gatemen trot out onto the field for this matinee matchup here on a Sunday. Two matchups, which a reminder is because it's a doubleheader, there are only 7 innings in each game today, and that plays a huge role. It gives you less outs to work with as a hitter and makes every run even that much more important with those 2 innings less to work with. So we'll run through the Harwich Mariners lineup really quick as they're about to get ready to go to work against Joey Matulovic, who we just touched on earlier. Andrew Moritz is in center field. He will hit first, leading off. Travis Monio is at third base. He'll hit second. Kobe Vance is hitting third. He is at second base. Batting cleanup is Ryan Ogren, the DH. He'll hit fourth. Batting fifth, Matt Vierling is in right. Batting sixth, Kyler Murray is in left field. Batting seventh, Brad Debo is catching. Jordan Verdon is at first base. He'll hit eighth. And Max Burt is hitting ninth at shortstop. And the Gateman defense, left to right in the outfield, John Topa, Tanner Dodson, and Luke Bonfield out there in this deep ballpark here at Spillane Field. In the infield for third base to first base, William McIver, Kyle Kasser on the left side of the infield, Jaron Duran, and Blake Sable on the right side. Jake Anchia is doing the catching for Joey Matulovic, who has a 0.00 ERA.
He leads the Cape Cod League very early on the season among qualified pitchers, but absolutely phenomenal for him so far. And he faced Harwich just a week ago, 4 innings pitched, scoreless, and a great onslaught scoring for the Wareham Gatemen. They're really going to need him to put another great performance on the mound, especially in a short game, in order to be able to take the win.
Yeah, the Gatemen would like to repeat the performance against Harwich from last week, but a rejuvenated Mariners roster ready to go out here. It's Tyler Bond doing the pitching, but first their lineup sets in. It's Andrew Moritz, the center fielder, ready to take the pitch from the righty, Joey Matulovic. The pitch is outside for ball 1, and we're underway here at Spillane Field in Wareham for home game number 4 and 5 coming up later for the Wareham Gatemen.
An absolute beautiful day for baseball here in the matinee doubleheader.
Absolutely. We have about 75 degrees, no clouds, and you couldn't really ask for much more. Much better day for baseball, honestly, as Andrew Moritz from UNC Greensboro sets in. He fouled that last pitch away. It's 1-1. And that pitch just inside. Looked like it might have caught the corner, but a tough call there from the umpire today. We'll see how the umpire strike zone comes into play. That pitch, not sure where that one was, but it's now a 3-1 count on the leadoff hitter Moritz, who hit .392 for UNC Greensboro this year, first team All-Southern Conference. This one's fouled away down the right side.
A little bit different for Matulovic, who only has 3 walks this season, getting behind on batters, but working his way into a full count, and you expect him now to come in with the fastball and at least try to get a ground out, if not a strikeout right here.
The home plate umpire today is Brian Troop. As Matulovic deals a 3-2 pitch to Moritz. This one's grounded to the shortstop. Played by Kasser. Fires over to first, not in time as he juggled it. And the throw was low as well, so Sable had to make a play. So Moritz is on with a leadoff. How do you think they'll score that one?
That's going to be a single right there, absolutely legged out right there by the leadoff hitter for Harwich. And really, that was the grounder you wanted, but when you have speed at the top of the order, it's tough to make the play. But now you're in double play territory. If you get that same exact ball to the shortstop, that's going to be a double play.
So Matulovic surrenders a hit on the first batter here, and that'll bring up Travis Monio, the third baseman today, as he fouls one off the catcher behind him. That catcher today is Jake Anchia, after we've seen Willie McIver back there a few times in the past few games, but Anchia steps back in to the catching position for the Gatemen today. He's done a pretty solid job so far, also adding some power in the lineup with 2 home runs so far this year for Wareham. The pitch from Matulovic in the stretch swung on and missed, blew it by him on a fastball upstairs.
That fastball can reach up to 94 miles an hour, and you just saw it completely gassed out right there.
Absolutely, especially when that pitch so high at the belt right there. Tough to hit for these hitters. Monio coming into today 3 for 14 on the season. Swings and flies this one out to right, coming on his Bonfield and makes the play for the first out here in the first inning after Matulovic surrendered a single to Andrew Moritz to start this one off. It's kind of tough to get your left and rights here when you're looking from the opposite direction.
Yeah, we're in left field currently. A little bit of a different view for a game, especially commentating, whereas our friends on the YouTube stream are currently behind home plate in the John H. Wild press box.
Yes, I'd like to remind you that you're listening to the Wareham Gatemen baseball broadcast on WCTV as the right-handed hitter Kobe Vance steps in. He's one of the most impressive hitters on this roster. Swing through that one. It's 0-1.
342 on the season so far. It's a young season, but one of the best hitters right now in the Cape.
Vance, the 0-1. That one just inside. Looks like a pretty tight strike zone right now for the home plate umpire Troop today. Of course, the same 3 umpires will be umpiring both games. They'll just rotate around the diamond for the second game. That one's low. On home plate will be John Putala on home plate for the second game. He's right now at first base. At second base is Nick DeMarchi. Matulovic in the stretch. Kind of getting behind on these batters. It's 2-1. That one's going to be inside on the corner. 2-2.
Yeah.
Looks a little bit inconsistent right now.
A little bit different to his last couple outings where he was really just dealing from the very start. This time struggling a little bit early, but again, this is also a shortened game, so you might wonder if he's trying to really rush himself a little bit to get to that top performance.
2-2, grounded up the middle and through for a base hit. Dodson's going to field, rounding second and heading for third is Moritz. He's going to get there sliding in, but he really didn't need to. So first and third with just one out here in the first for the Mariners. And a reminder that it's just a 7-inning game. Every run that much more important in this shortened style game. So now a runner in scoring position for Harwich, trying to recover from a loss to Orleans yesterday, a 7-4 game that was.
Yeah, heartbreaker for them. 5 runs in the top of the 8th for Orleans to get the win for the Firebirds.
Of course, we've seen Orleans twice already this season. One, the Wareham Gatemen lost to them 2-0. Out in Orleans, but then recovered well against the Firebirds at home in an 11-3 victory. That one comes in, and count is 0-1 on Ryan Ogren. Matulovic in the stretch. This one's fouled away back toward the press box behind home plate. And now a good thing to see here for Matulovic, working back into a pitcher's count here. 1-1 now, the count on Ryan Ogren from Elon. That pitch is low. That was a fastball from Matulovic coming in and having to reach down for it was Anchia. Ogren out of Elon hit .350 this year. Devon, Pennsylvania native, had 33 RBIs and 43 runs scored. No surprise, he's in the cleanup spot today for the Harwich Mariners at 10 for 31 so far this year. Runner goes to second, and Anchia just lets him slide in, not wanting that runner at third, Moritz, who has a lot of speed, to break for home. So they let Vance takes second, and that takes away the double play ball. But the pitch was a strike. It's 2-2. Joey Matulovic working in a 2-2 count. This is a big batter here. 2 runners in scoring position. Swung on and missed. Ryan Ogren down on strikes. A huge strikeout for Matulovic with first base open, 2 runners in scoring position. And now the Gatemen have 2 outs here in this top half of the first inning. Ogren downstream. That strikeout brought to you by the law offices of Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard. Swing and a miss. Matt Vierling takes a pitch low on the corner. Looked pretty low from here, but they give him the strike there. Matt Vierling out of Notre Dame, now down in an 0-2 count. Joey Matulovic working back in this game. Looks pretty solid in the last 2 batters after surrendering a few early hits to Moritz and Vance. Vierling, the St. Louis native, swung on and missed. Matulovic with another strikeout to end this inning. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on for the Mariners. The Gatemen coming to bat here on WCTV. Welcome back here. It's the bottom half of the first inning. The Gatemen up to bat here after Harwich went down scoreless in the top half of the first, but quite a scare for Joey Matulovic in his 0.00 ERA. What do you think the issue was there with those first few batters?
You know, sometimes just early in the game, early game jitters, even though you pitched already 2, sometimes just getting into the game takes a couple pitches, but he was able to get out of it, and I expect him to recover pretty good for the rest of the game. He's got a tough competition, though, with Tyler Baum, who he's facing today, who also has a 0.00 ERA. He just does not qualify yet to be on that list.
Yeah, Tyler Baum out of UNC, one of the top pitchers on that dynamic UNC pitching staff, at 7-0 this year with a 2.57 ERA. About 2 strikeouts per walk this season with the Tar Heels. Pitches low to Jaron Duran out of Long Beach State, the second baseman, and the count's 1-0.
Already beating that so far in the Cape. He's even though he's only pitched 1 outing, 3 strikeouts to 1 walk. So already on pace to be better than he was at college.
Impressive stuff, certainly. That one's in there for a strike. Duran, very good at working walks himself. Only been here for a few days, already has 3 of them. And when he gets on base, he's so dangerous with those wheels around the bases. Out of Long Beach State, that's Jaron Duran, the leadoff hitter for most of these games since he got here. Pitch swung on and missed on a breaking ball. That's that dangerous breaking ball, about 75 to 78 miles per hour, coming out of the hands of Tyler Baum.
Yeah, you have to really wonder what's going to happen with this leadoff situation with Stephen Kwan coming in a couple days out of Oregon State, who just lost yesterday in the College World Series. you have to wonder if he's going to be taking that leadoff spot or what they're going to do with the order, but it's always nice to have many options.
The pitch tried to go the other way down the line, but just a little bit late was Duran, and the count moves to 1-2. Yeah, and it's always good to have that depth, but once Kwan gets here, you got a guy like Luke Bonfield who's probably going to be moving down in the order into the 6 or 7 hole, which is pretty impressive for this Gatemen lineup. This one's down the line, tough play at first, but the pitcher Baum picks it up and fires over to Verdon at first base, and one down.
Yeah, you see that every single time Duran's up. If you hesitate for a second, he's going to be past the first base line. He has such good speed, and that's really been helpful for the Wareham Gatemen, who have been trying to focus more on that small ball technique. Besides Tristan Pompey, this really is a small ball team.
Absolutely. We've seen the Gatemen struggling to win close games early on in this season. They've had a few big blowout victories in the past where their bats really come alive, but other than that, the close games is really what's been haunting Wareham so far. Those 2-0, those 5-3 losses to Orleans and Falmouth respectively, those have really been what's brought the Wareham record down as the count moves to 1-0 on Kyle Kasser, adding some more depth to this top of the lineup. This is game number 3 for Kasser out of the University of Oregon, and he's quickly ahead in the count, 2-0.
A great find for head coach Don Sneddon, who found out through his friend, the Oregon pitching coach, on Facebook. Sorry, not pitching coach, one of the assistant coaches.
This one's grounded right to the shortstop. Burt makes a play on it, fires wide to first, and they say he was off the bag. Verdon was on first base. So that wild throw, it'll be an E6 on the shortstop, Burt, and that allows Kasser to be on here with a lot of speed early on in this game here in the top half of the first inning. That's a big error, as my key to the game in the pregame was to steal bases with all this speed in the Gatemen lineup.
But I need to steal bases, though, with Tristan Pompey up, who had a phenomenal debut here at Spillane Field. Struggled last night, went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. But his debut here, 4 for 5 with 2 3-run bombs.
Yes, so in his career, Tristan Pompey is hitting .800 at Spillane Field, as this one's low, 1-0, on the University of Kentucky product. Led the SEC in hits this year. One of the best hitters in the country, period. This one's in the dirt, and advancing to second, but gunned down is Kasser, not even close. He broke for second kind of too early there, and the catcher, Debo, who really played that pitch in the dirt very well, just picked it up and fired down, and Kasser had no shot.
Yeah, it was a tough break for Kasser right there. Beautiful throw, right on the money, and Kasser completely no shot. Leaves the bases empty now for Pompey.
Pompey hitting from the right side, grounded to second. Picked up by Vance, fires to first, and the side is retired. The first 3 batters of this Gatemen order go down. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and no men left on base. We'll go to the second, 0-0 here on WCTV. Welcome back here. It's the top half of the second inning. The Mariners and the Gatemen tied at 0. Kyler Murray, the left fielder, steps in from the right side. And he's going to face Joey Matulovic.
Matulovic, a little bit of struggles in that first inning of work, but you expect him now to come back, and especially now not pitching out of stretch, to come back and be strong.
Murray, one of the best athletes on this Harwich Mariners roster, one of the best athletes, period. A former quarterback at Texas A&M University, takes a strike.
You have to wonder if he's one of the emergency pitchers, being one of the quarterbacks at Texas A&M.
Takes a strike on the low corner there. 0-2 now to Kyler Murray. He's the first player in sports history to play in the Under Armour All-America game in both baseball and football. It's pretty impressive stuff there from Kyler Murray out of Oklahoma. We're going to have one of his teammates on the broadcast coming up later in this game. It's going to be next game's pitcher for the Harwich Mariners, and we're not going to give it away too much. It'll be a surprise what his name is as Murray goes down swinging. One down here in the second.
We're building up the suspense here on WCTV. I love it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. That'll come up in the 5th, so stick with us here for a special guest appearance from one of the visiting players here today. Brad Debo swings and misses on a high fastball, and it's 0-1 on today's catcher for the Mariners.
And definitely there's a little bit of difference right now in the top lineup to the bottom lineup for Harwich. Top of the lineup, a few batters over 300. Bottom lineup, a lot of batters under 200.
This one's driven deep to center field, and that one is way gone through the uprights in center field. Brad Debo just fired that one out about as deep as you can go in this ballpark, and it's 1-0 Harwich here in the second.
You have to wonder if the confidence from building, from having to play behind the plate and nailing Casser at second base, and then just basically shot it where we call that Tristan Pompey range right now into the uprights. It's a field goal. Sadly, only counts for 1 run for Harwich, but beautiful shot right there to put up the Mariners 1-0.
Wow, what a shot by Debo. No chance for the outfielders. They just watched it soar out of this ballpark. It's about 400 where that ball went over the fence, and it probably had an extra 20 or 30 feet on that if it had not hit those goalposts. So a shot by Brad Debo out there for sure. One of the longest home runs, if not the longest, we've seen in Spillane Field this season. So 1-0 Mariners as Matulovic has to come back from that. Watching someone take that ball for miles.
A different experience for him right now in the Cape Cod League. His ERA no longer 0.00, which had to expect that would eventually happen, but definitely a rough start to this game for Joey Matulovic.
That pitch is outside. Now it's 1-1 on Jordan Verdon. The 8-hitter today for Harwich. Hitting from the left side, fouls that one back. Verdon out of San Diego State. Was drafted by the New York Mets in 2015, but chose to attend college. The pitch from Matulovic. This one's driven deep out into center field. Coming on is Dodson, and he calls off the left fielder Topa and makes the play. And there's 2 down here in the second.
Interesting to see Dodson in center field today, where you need a powerful arm after he pitched yesterday. 3 innings of work against Foulman. So interesting to see him back in the outfield so quickly.
Max Burt is the batter, the right-handed hitter for Harwich. Takes a ball outside. Burt coming into today 1 for 125, 2 for 16 on the season. So he'd like to step up that average. Hitting from the 9-hole today.
Definitely brings up your confidence as a hitter when one guy hits a blast. That's Brad Debo's first home run of the season.
That one's fouled away. It's 1-2 on Burt. Burt out of Northeastern. A local guy from North Andover, Mass. Also went to one of the top baseball schools in Massachusetts, St. John's Prep. That one's outside. St. John's Prep, of course, made the Super 8 this year for Massachusetts high school baseball. Came up a little bit short of that elusive title. So hard to win here in Massachusetts. 2-2. This one's driven out the other way. Coming on is Bonfield. Did he make the play? He does. What a play by Luke Bonfield as he backed up first, realized it was coming short, came back in, and makes the diving grab to end the inning. One run on one hit. It's the bomb by Debo, and it's 1-0 Harwich going to the bottom of the half of the second on WCTV. You get a look at Wareham Gatemen pitcher Justin Glover signing autographs for fans in the crowd, as stepping in is the right-handed batter William McIver to lead off this second inning for Wareham. They're down 1-0 here in this first game of a twin bill today against the Harwich Mariners. That pitch on the outside corner, 0-1 to McIver, coming into today, .375. 15 for 40 on the season with 1 home run, 6 runs batted in. McIver drives this one opposite field into the gap. This one is going to hit the wall on a hop. McIver rounds first. He's into second with a stand-up double to lead off the bottom half of the second inning, and he's continuing to be the most consistent hitter in this Gatemen lineup.
Yeah, top 10 batter currently in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and he's been phenomenal since the day he stepped on the field here at Spillane and just in general on the Cape Cod Baseball League.
So now McIver gets what the Gatemen need, that first hit to lead off the inning. And with no outs now, Luke Bonfield steps in. Received the day off yesterday in Falmouth. Has been a regular in this lineup since he arrived from the University of Arkansas. The pitch comes in right down the middle from Baum. It's 0-1 on McIver, or on Bonfield, excuse me. McIver is on second, taking his lead behind the pitcher Baum, who's in the stretch. He deals. Breaking ball hung up there and high, 1-1. Bonfield hitting .217, 1 home run, 4 runs batted in, at 5 for 23 on the season. That 1 home run came at Hyannis, a game in which the Gatemen won 10-2. Swing and a miss. 1-2 now on Bonfield.
Already an arm warming up in the Wareham bullpen. We keep mentioning this is only a 7-inning game, so if your pitcher's struggling, it might be time just to make a quick change really fast to get something going.
The righty kicks and delivers in the dirt, and not knowing where it was at first was Debo, but McIver saw it right in front of him, decided to hold on at second. Yeah, and in addition to that, Jim Lawler seems to be pretty conservative with his innings, with the pitching. Even when you see guys have great outings, they're pretty much limited to about 4 innings max. This one's grounded to the pitcher, checks back the runner at second, fires over to first, and Tyler Baum, helping himself, retires Luke Bonfield 1-3.
Yeah, the max we've seen from a pitcher has been about 5 innings, so really you expect that maybe Matulovic maybe 1 more inning, especially in a shortened game, and that's going to be about it for him.
Yeah, absolutely. We mentioned the effects of a shortened game and also the momentum a doubleheader carries. Last week we saw the Gatemen fall both times to the Chatham Anglers in that doubleheader, and the momentum from the first game kind of carried into the second. They really never had a chance. There's a breaking ball right in there for a strike on Jake Anchia.
Not only the momentum from the first game, the momentum from the first inning in both games. Chatham got 3 runs in the first inning, and really Wareham could never recover.
Impressive stuff from the Anglers last week. That's the only time we will ever see the Chatham field this year, as this one's fouled back behind him by Jake Anchia, the catcher out of Nova Southeastern, a D2 school.
Yeah, We can say we saw it, but it was so foggy out there that we could barely see anything, could barely even see center field.
Yeah, that was some wild conditions for baseball, as a lot of outfielders were having trouble fielding those high fly balls last Sunday in Chatham. As the runner McIver heads for third, dropped by the catcher Debo, and McIver is in easily.
McIver, we say this basically every single day, but for a catcher, he's got such speed that you really have to be watching out for. One of the leaders in stolen bases in the Cape Cod Baseball League, that now being his 7th, tying him for the lead.
Impressive from McIver, a catcher swing and a miss by Bonfield, and he's down a big, Anchia, sorry. Bonfield already down in this inning. Anchia, a big out there for the pitcher Baum. With that runner on third base, eliminates the possibility of a sacrifice fly.
But Blake Sable has been able to drive in runs, who's coming up now without getting the sac fly, so it's going to be, for him, he's going to be hoping to get a ground ball through the middle and drive in McIver, who has the speed to get in anything in the outfield, even shallow.
Sable hitting from the left side takes a strike on the outside corner. Blake Sable hitting 1 for 4 this year at .250 batting average. 1 home run, 4 runs batted in. That one gets off the catcher Debo, and scoring is McIver from third, and it's a 1-1 game on a wild pitch from the pitcher Tyler Baum. And McIver, he gets on second to lead off this inning, but he did it all himself. There was really no help.
He really, that is just a luxury to have when you have the speed from who someone's going to be basically your everyday catcher, and your speed all up and down this lineup, and to have that, a ball doesn't get away that far. For a normal catcher, you might not be able to make it down there. McIver, that fast.
Swing and a miss by Sable, as now the Gatemen have tied it up on some crazy pitching and some tough catching for Brad Debo, as he might have had a chance to throw McIver out at third on a stolen base had he made the play.
We've seen a few drop balls from Debo so far.
This one's fouled away.
Into the Wareham dugout, and we have to make sure the player's okay. Looks like he might have hit one of the players. Head still down. No, he's fine. Just taking a little rest right now. There's a baking sun, so gotta take a little rest, a little breather here and there.
So Debo essentially gives the run he just scored back, because he hit that blast to center field for the Mariners in the second inning. Count is 1-2 on Blake Sable, working against Tyler Baum. I've noticed that Baum has really been getting ahead in his counts, and if not for that one McIver double in this inning and some crazy catching and some crazy one crazy pitch, he'd be in a 1-0 lead right now, as that pitch is outside, 2-2.
Pitching pretty quickly, also not allowing the Wareham Gatemen to get a little comfortable in the batter's box, kind of just forcing them to speed up.
Sable with 3 extra base hits this season, 2 doubles and 1 home run. This one swung on and missed on a high heater. Sable down on strikes, the second consecutive strikeout for Tyler Baum. The Gatemen get the run back on 1 hit, no errors, and no men left. We'll go to the third inning. It's tied at 1 here on WCTV. Welcome back here. It's the top half of the third inning. The Gatemen and the Mariners both get a run in the second. And leading off is the leadoff hitter, Andrew Moritz, who's 1 for 1, facing Matulovic, who's out there for his third inning of work.
We already have our first final of the day. The Brewster Whitecaps walking off at home against the Bourne Braves with a 6-4 victory. 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th, extra inning win.
Impressive stuff there for Brewster. That we've seen them once this year. They've been pretty impressive. We haven't seen Bourne yet this year, which is pretty interesting considering they are in the same division as Wareham out here on the West Division. It's actually the closest team to Wareham, so it's always nice when you get those away games right down the street in Bourne.
Yeah, instead we've been making the long drives all the way out west to Chatham and Orleans.
And Brewster, of course.
Yeah, definitely not helping.
And Harwich.
Not helping my gas bill, that's for sure.
We don't have to visit Chatham again because that was a doubleheader, as the righty Matulovic deals to Moritz. Moritz actually fouled that last one off his knee, and it looked like he was in a lot of pain there, but he's back in there and fouls that one away.
Yeah, Bourne right now currently leading the West Division, now at 6-3, though.
The righty in the windup, fouled away, and doing a good job wasting these pretty good 0-2 pitches is Andrew Moritz, the center fielder.
Yeah, again, action in the Wareham bullpen right now. It looks like Frankie Bartow just warming up a little bit.
Moritz led the Southern Conference with a .400 batting average this season. This one's lined over the head of the shortstop, Kasser, and into left field for a base hit. So another single for Andrew Moritz. He has Matulovic's number, and he's on leading off an inning for the second time with a single. It's always what you want your leadoff guy to do. It's his job to start the inning right, and he's done it twice today, as the 9-hitter Burt was retired in the second. He got to lead off this inning, and now putting Harwich in a good position to try to retake this lead here in the third inning. Bunted down the third base line, picking it up with his bare hand is MacGyver, and has no play. And then fires it into center field. Going to third is the runner at second, Moritz, and into second is Travis Monio. A wild play there by MacGyver. I have no idea why he chucked that one to second.
I'm not really sure. It looks like he stopped for a second and looked. It looked like maybe he saw Moritz taking a half a step off the bag, tried to catch him. No one else was ready for it, though. That's definitely not what you don't want if you're Joey Matulovic. Already giving up 2 hits, I get it, but you don't want to be giving up plays like that.
It's the second error of the game, the first one for Wareham. Some sloppy defense from MacGyver there. We rarely see that, as he's been one of the most defensively sound guys on this team, both at third base and at catcher. This one's fouled over the bleachers on the Gatemen dugout side and out of play, 0-1.
Yeah, you were talking before about someone having Joey Matulovic's number. Well, you have to wonder really if it's the scouting report. He did pitch 4 innings against Harwich just a week ago.
So Kobe Vance is the right-handed batter. Mentioned how dangerous he was the first time he hit, and now it's 0-1 on him. Breaking ball waits on it, but fouls it away. Good pitch there from Matulovic. Vance out of Alabama, a Fayetteville, North Carolina native, not to be confused with Fayetteville, Arkansas, home of the University of Arkansas.
All about the geography.
Was drafted by the Cleveland Indians in 2015, the 16th round. Of course, not going to be heading to Cleveland unless he gets drafted by them again. This one's flown out to right field. Coming on and dropping for a base hit in the Bermuda Triangle. 2 runs will score, and the Mariners take a 3-1 lead here in the third inning on a bloop single to right by Kobe Vance. He's 2 for 2.
The runners almost overtook each other on that one. Really looking forward to getting to home plate.
Yeah, I mean, the runner at third, of course, Moritz, was waiting to see if that ball was dropped. Monio got a little bit of a better jump. He recognized that the fielders Sable, Duran, and Bonfield probably didn't have a play on that. So now a 3-1 game on that RBI single from Vance, his 7th and 8th RBIs of the season, and he's on first now. Still nobody out here in this third inning. This one's fouled away over the bleachers.
Not what you want to see if you're Joey Matulovic. It's the first time he's really run into any trouble this season, and now it looks like the run's just piling on. Something you need to, if you're Jim Lawler, you might need to come out and just relax your pitcher up there. Tell him, hey, you've been doing a good job all season. Just relax up there.
Absolutely. Matulovic came into this game without allowing an earned run in 9 innings pitched so far this season. It's an 0-2 count. Swing and a miss. Oh, now it's no 2 count. Excuse me. I was getting ahead of myself, as now the 4-hitter Ryan Ogren facing a Joey Matulovic who has not retired a batter. He's given up 3 consecutive singles here. One was a bunt single, followed by an error by Willie McIver. This one's grounded up the middle. This could be 2. Kasser onto the second baseman. Duran onto first to Sable, double play. A huge double play for Joey Matulovic to retire 2 batters here in the 3rd inning. It's still 3-1 Harwich, and Matt Vierling is the next guy to come up.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about how hitting contagious for Wareham and contagious all over the place, but really for Wareham it's been contagious. So all it is really, get out of this inning. Hey, look, it's a 2-run game. It's not impossible to make up and just get the hitting to be contagious, especially with the top of the order coming up in a couple batters.
Pretty interesting decision there by Kasser to toss to Duran when he was right by the bag. He thought he might have taken that one himself. This one's popped straight up. Waiting on it is the shortstop. Kasser makes the play, and the side is retired, but the Harwich Mariners get 2 more runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and no men left on base. We will go to the bottom half. The Gatemen down by 2, looking to strike early in this 7-inning game on WCTV. My name's Sam Corman. Welcome back here. It's the bottom half of the 3rd inning. John Topa out of UConn is here to lead off from the right side, facing Tyler Baum, who has gone 2 innings so far, given up just 1 hit, but that 1 hit was McIver, and he came around to score. Bunt by Topa right back to the pitcher Baum. It wasn't a very good one. On to first. Easy play for Baum to Verdon.
Couple scores from around the Cape that are going on. Hyannis currently at home, leading 6-1 over the Chatham Anglers, who had the doubleheader last week against the Wareham Gatemen and just dominated. And Orleans hosting Cotuit. Orleans currently up 6-2 in the top of the 6th.
Impressive stuff from the Firebirds, who we saw the Gatemen kind of just demolish a few days ago.
But then a couple days before that, Orleans really took care of business on the pitching side.
We know their pitching is pretty impressive. It's their hitting that hasn't really come in clutch for them so far this year. Orleans, one of the worst teams record-wise in the CCBL so far. It's 0-1 on Tanner Dodson, who is the only Gateman hitter to yet to receive an at-bat. Here it is from the left side. That one on the outside corner looked a little bit outside from our angle, but that angle slightly off. 0-2 now on Dodson.
Yeah, you mentioned Orleans, the batting and the pitching. Well, they're second to last in batting so far for team batting, but they're second in pitching. So really, it's that you guys somehow balance that out. Obviously, you want your pitching to stay up there, but the batting needs to come up in order for Orleans to make a run.
Absolutely. Being good in one department, bad in the other, makes for a pretty inconsistent ball club. As a breaking ball blows by Dodson, a beautiful pitch there from Baum, and he's retired the first 2 here in the 3rd inning. And a reminder that the Gatemen only have just over 12 more outs to work with here in this shortened game. It's a 7-inning game, but there will be 2 of them. And the last time the Gatemen played a doubleheader, we mentioned this earlier, not only did Chatham get off to great starts, but this one, as showing bunt is Duran, down the 3rd baseline, they let it roll foul. There was no chance they were catching him at first, but a smart play by the Harwich field to allow that one to roll foul here on the gravel in Spillane Field. One of Duran's fortes, obviously, is bunting for hits, given that speed. We've seen him this year ground to shortstop and beat out a routine play from the shortstop to the first baseman. That was back in his debut. Duran batting from the left side with that helmet chin protector, the Long Beach State helmet. Takes the pitch from the righty bomb, and that one's outside on a fastball, 1-1. The lefty delivers. Swung on and ground to the first baseman, and tossing over to the pitcher is Verdon. Verdon to bomb, and the side is quickly retired. 1-2-3 here in the third. We're ready to go to the fourth here in Wareham. It's 3-1 Harwich on WCTV. Welcome back here. It's the top half of the fourth inning, and the Gatemen trailing the Harwich Mariners by a score of 3-1. Reminder that coming up in the fifth, a special visit from one of the Harwich pitchers. He will be in action in the second game today, but did not want to sit in the sun here in the first game, so decided to come join us here in the outfield press box. So you'll hear from that anonymous source in about an inning. But leading off here for Harwich is Kyler Murray, his teammate.
That one fouled right back, and you saw that we have a couple of the baseball operations guys standing back there doing research for Wareham, and you saw them all jump a little bit, forgetting the gate was right there.
On the mound is still Joey Matulovic. That one's just high, 1-1. Kind of surprising to see Matulovic here in his fourth inning of work.
You've seen about 3 different pitchers go up in the Wareham bullpen, and I don't know if they're warming up necessarily for the second game, but you expected one of them to come in by now.
Especially Frankie Bartow. We haven't seen him in a while. That one's high, and it did catch Kyler Murray on the sleeve. Might have hit his jersey on the way by, and he's on to first base on a hit by pitch. It's not exactly what Matulovic had planned to start this fourth inning after giving up 2 in the last.
Yeah, this day really hasn't gone according to Joey Matulovic's plans, really. He's had a couple really good outings. We keep mentioning he started off the day with a 0.00 ERA, but that wasn't going to last, and today things just not going his way.
Brad Debo hit a bomb in the center field in the second inning, and he bunts. Quite a different play for Debo. Throw is wide on first, but Sable recovers and makes the play just in time to get Debo, the catcher. A wild throw there from Matulovic over to first, and Blake Sable able to get back on the bag in time to get that first out. Advancing to second is Kyler Murray. He has some speed on the bases. Now he's in scoring position with 1 out.
Yeah, good at bat by Debo. He's had now 2 good at bats, because first one obviously a home run. Can't complain with that ever, but 2 really good at bats and keeps the runners moving along.
Always important to get that runner in scoring position. Now a swing and a miss by the lefty Jordan Verdon, playing first base for Harwich today. Of course, it'll be a different lineup in game 2. I don't think we have an inside scoop onto what that will be. We'll probably have to wait on that for the second game, coming up about 30 to 45 minutes after this one concludes. That one's inside, 1-1.
Yeah, definitely a nice day for all the fans coming out. We have these doubleheaders, 14 innings of baseball at least, and we already mentioned one game going in the extras. So it's always nice to have long days of baseball, especially a beautiful day like today with not a cloud in the sky.
This one swung on and popped into the sky in the infield. Coming over to play is a shortstop. Kasser makes the play, and remaining at second is Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mentioned, nice to be able to look into the sky right there. No clouds, don't have to worry about any other white things in the sky right there. Just got one baseball to look at.
Pretty routine play there for Kasser out of Oregon. He's been defensively sharp since getting here. So Verdon is retired. Max Burt, who flew out to the right fielder Bonfield back in the second inning, steps in, and he's going to bunt. Played by Matulovic, and on to first, and Sable makes the play, and the side's retired. A pretty poor bunt there from Burt. And we would go to the bottom half of the fourth inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one man left on base for the Mariners here on WCTV. Here in the bottom half of the fourth inning, we're already halfway through this 7-inning game. And Kyle Kasser leading off in an all-important inning for the Gatemen. They're running out of outs to use. They have just 12 remaining to try to solve. Tyler Baum still on the mound for the Harwich Mariners. He's given up just one run in the first 3 innings. Also has given up just one hit in those same 3 innings. Struck out 3 as well.
Yeah, we mentioned how quick this game's been going. I'm pretty sure it started at 4 o'clock. It's 4:50 right now, so this has been a lightning quick game.
This one's fouled away into the school on the third base side.
I was talking to some of the workers who have been here for a long time. I was asking them, how many times you have the school right next to the ballpark? How many times does the glass get broken? They said it doesn't really happen at all, which surprised me because we got a lot of hitters that definitely hit it up to the second level.
0-2 pitch is an outside changeup from Baum, and it's 1-2.
And again, I keep mentioning Wareham with the bullpen. Matulovic still in the game, but bullpen keeps going in and out.
That fastball fouled away, so Kyle Kasser trying to work back in this count. It's now a 1-2.
Looks like now the lefty Riley Gates in the bullpen.
Riley Gates has one of the funkiest deliveries on this pitching staff for the Gatemen. This one's fouled away behind him. Kyle Kasser spoiling some pretty good pitches here from Baum, who's been really sharp today, keeping the ball on the ground for the most part. No flyouts for the Gatemen. The only ball that left the infield was McIver's double. He eventually came around to score. And now the righty's going to deal to Kyle Kasser on the outside corner, called strike 3. Kasser down, looking, the 4th strikeout of the day for Tyler Baum out of UNC.
We've seen this last couple days, Wareham Gatemen players just kind of looking at the ump right after getting striking, right after a strikeout, looking. It's not really, I don't know if they're not seeing the strike zone as well, but definitely not been loving all the home plate umpire calls.
Baum 7-0 with a 2.57 ERA at UNC. That one's on the outside corner. Another good pitch there from Baum, catching those outside corners, especially on a guy like Pompey. You want to keep it away from him. He's a big pull hitter. won't get that home run power opposite field. I mean, I'm sure he can get that home run power opposite field, but of course he's much better pulling the ball. And now he's hitting from the left side against this righty pitcher, Tyler Baum. That one's on the low corner, a very low pitch there, but they call it a strike, and now Pompey is down 1-2.
Yeah, sorry about that. Pompey, again, another guy who's been questioning the strikes, but the 2 home runs he had the other day were just left over in the middle of the plate, both fastballs, so that's something definitely pitchers have learned from day one to get around.
And that one came inside in the dirt. Pretty wild pitch there from Baum. We haven't seen much of those from him today. It's 2-2 on Pompey. Pompey, of course, had that remarkable debut with the Gatemen 2 days ago, hitting 2 3-run shots in consecutive innings. Out of Kentucky, takes the 2-2 and fouls it off his own foot. We've seen him spoiling a lot of pitches in his at-bats, even yesterday when he struck out 3 times. In those at-bats, spoiled quite a bit of pitches. Seems like he's just able to wait on the pitch he wants to get at most times. He's hitting .444 here, 4 for 9. Swings and misses, and that was a great pitch there from Baum. Down low in Pompey, down swinging. His 4th strikeout in 2 games now.
Yeah, Pompey, who's going to be with the team just for a few more days until he heads back to Omaha for a quick little stop at the Home Run Derby, the College Home Run Derby, and then come back to Wareham Gatemen.
Yes, the Home Run Derby out in Omaha is going to be fun to watch with Tristan Pompey especially in there, as the right-handed batter Willie McIver, who owns the only hit for the Gatemen today, steps in. McIver was 15 for 40 before today, 1 for 1. This one's lined right to the second baseman. Vance in the side is retired, but great contact by McIver once again, as we will go to the 5th inning. When we come back, we will have a special visit from a Oklahoma Sooner here. The Mariners lead the Gatemen 3-1 on WCTV. Welcome back here. It's the top half of the 5th inning. The Gatemen still down by 2. And Riley Gates from BYU is going to step into this game here for Joey Matulovic, who goes 4 innings and gives up 3 runs, including that solo shot from Brad Debo back in the 2nd. Also gives up a total of 6 hits on the day, so a rough day for Matulovic after a pretty impressive first 2 outings. Riley Gates from BYU, the lefty, steps in as that sharp downhill curveball. 38 strikeouts to 22 walks this year for the Brigham Young Cougars. And this year, 3-1 win-loss record. Just gave up 2 home runs, a 1.13 walks hits per innings pitch ratio for Riley Gates. But it's time to introduce a member of the opposing team of the Harwich Mariners. It is Tyler Grove out of Oklahoma. What's up, Tyler?
It is Dylan. No, we're good. But,
my bad.
Yep, no, we're fine. Thank you for having me, guys.
I just butchered your name. I was used to Tyler Baum on the mound.
No, we're good. We're good. If I was for your team, I might be a little upset, but I'm not. No hard feelings. No hard feelings.
Okay, so Dylan Grove out of Oklahoma is here. He's pitching in the next game. Is it kind of weird for a pitcher here in a doubleheader to kind of sit back and watch one game and then kind of step in the next one?
Yeah, it's nice to see, kind of watch the game from. Obviously, I'm joined y'all in the press box, and I get to see kind of everybody swing. It's nice to to have that look and feel beforehand. But I definitely don't like sitting and watching an entire game knowing that I'm going out there next. I'm kind of itching to get out there on the mound.
As the pitch from Gates is inside, so you're here with some teammates from Oklahoma.
Yes, I drove down with Austin Hansen. He is a right-handed pitcher, and then Kyler joined us shortly after. Kyler Murray, he had some football obligations before he came up, but now he's ready to play some ball for the summer.
So is he playing for OU football as well?
Yes, he is our second-string quarterback.
Wow, very impressive stuff there from
yes,
a phenomenal athlete.
Yes, he was invited to the ESPYs a few years back for winning the Gatorade National Athlete of the Year throughout the country. So he's fun to be around. It's we call him Hollywood sometimes. He's a little bit big league, but no, he's a good guy, great teammate, good to be around.
Moritz works a walk here to lead off this inning on 4 pitches from Riley Gates, so he's off to a pretty rough start, the lefty. And so is that really nice to have those teammates around with you here in a new place, new league for you?
Yeah, it's there's always a period of time when you first get to a summer ball team where there's a learning curve. You playing with 30 new guys that you've never met, or you may have met a few, but I mean, it's a brand new team. It's nice to have that comfortability and that little bit of a safe haven of knowing some people coming up here. But obviously you make friends pretty quick on the team. But yeah, it's just nice to have some people that you know, so you're not just stranded up here alone.
This one's flown out to the left fielder. Topa stands under it and makes the play. The first out of the inning belongs to Travis Monio, and Riley Gates gets his first out, much needed for a guy that just walked the leadoff batter on 4 pitches. So you played in Martha's Vineyard last summer. That must have been really cool. It must have been quite a paradise for you and your teammates last summer.
Yes, it was. Coming from Oklahoma, I was a little bit out of my out of my element. Never been to an island before, and I got to spend the entire summer there. But no, it was fantastic. It's something, memories and times that I'll never forget, and I'm glad that I took the opportunity to go up there. At first, I was a little skeptical. It's a long ways from home, but I'm glad I did it, and it was an experience that I'll probably never forget.
So I want you to take me through your college decision process. Obviously, you're right at home, probably only less than an hour from Norman, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
And when Oklahoma offered you, was it kind of a no-brainer?
Yeah, I grew up. It's actually my house was about 15 minutes from the campus, and so I've been born and raised an Oklahoma Sooner fan. I mean, we're diehard Crimson and Cream. So yeah, when they offered me my junior year, and it was a no-brainer. As soon as I got the offer, I accepted, and I never looked back from there. So
pretty cool stuff. As the batter now for Harwich is Kobe Vance. And so far, how would you assess your play so far for Harwich in this season? And is there anything in particular you want to improve on after your first few outings of the season?
It's been great. The great thing about coming up to the Cape, even though you don't know these guys, they're the best. I mean, they get invited out here because they're the best in the country, and I know that if I hang a slider or leave a fastball over the middle of the plate, if it gets hit hard, that somebody's probably going to make the play. I mean, I got 8 guys behind me that put their bodies on the line, just extremely talented athletes, and it makes it a lot easier to pitch out here knowing that you have a defense like that behind you.
Absolutely. As Kobe Vance just struck out swinging, Ryan Ogren is the new batter for Harwich here with 2 outs in the top half of the 5th inning, as a snap throw over to first and not in time, as the throw from Anchia was in the dirt. Sable had to block that one pretty dangerously. So you pitched 1 game so far, 6 innings, didn't give up any runs.
Nope.
Were you kind of surprised with the how good the hitting competition here is?
Oh yes, the hitters are. I mean, it's the same way for our fielders. The hitters are the best in the country as well. So I mean, you have to be on top of your game every time you go out there. It was a little bit of a different situation. I normally have a few walks with a few more strikeouts, but kept the pitch count low. Just kind of let my defense work, and it was a great time. I'm excited to get back out there today. I wish it was a 9-inning game instead of a 7. Got cut a little short, but I mean, what whatever it takes. We'll whether it's 7 or 9, it'll you gotta do what you gotta do.
Absolutely. Is there any like certain pitch count restrictions that your coaches back at Oklahoma set, or anything like that that you have to watch out for?
They kind of have us on an innings limit. If we throw a ton out here, they don't want us to. They might shut us down a little bit early, just because we throw so much during the fall. But really the only limits we have are from the Harwich coaches. They have, for starters, it's 85 pitches, and they said no matter if you're throwing a perfect game, throwing 100 miles an hour, you're coming out of the game. They don't want to risk anything. This is still summer ball. This is time to get better and work on things, and not time to push yourself.
As Ogren down on strikes, the top of the 5th comes to a close. Big thank you to Dylan Grove out of Oklahoma for coming on here for this half inning. It's 3-1 Mariners on WCTV.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back here. It is the bottom half of the 5th inning, and the Gatemen here only have one hit off of Tyler Baum, who's back in the game. As his teammate Dylan Grove just mentioned, they're on an 85 pitch limit, but he has not come close to that quite yet, as he's mowing down these Gatemen hitters. He's retired the last 9.
Yeah, I'm going to go through the highlights of that interview really quick. First, gotta love starting off saying the wrong name. That's not our finest moment here at WCTV, but I think that was a solid recovery by the whole group. What I will say is, Mr. Grove here, I think might join us here in the booth just in general, because he seems to be loving this spot right here. Nice, cool spot for us to watch the game.
Yeah, he has to talk to Coach Sneddon to see if he can switch teams from the Mariners to the Gatemen.
So I think we got to talk to our GM Andy Lang. Just get him in the booth every day.
New job for Oklahoma pitcher Dylan Grove. This one's on the outside corner, strike 3, looking on Luke Bonfield. That is the 6th strikeout today for Tyler Baum. He's been dealing ever since Willie MacGyver got on with that double. He has not looked back once.
Yeah, you have to wonder if we have Dylan Grove still up here, but you have to wonder, you see Tyler Baum, he's really able to deal quite nicely right now with the Wareham Gatemen batters. You have to wonder, hey, look, I see what's going on right now. Can I replicate that myself and come in with confidence that my team has been showing so far?
And we expect some lineup changes for the Gatemen in the second game. We're not exactly sure what that lineup's going to look like, as stepping in now is Jake Anchia. But you'd expect to see, maybe Nick Angelini get in there in the outfield. We probably won't be seeing Tanner Dodson in the second game, if I were to guess. He pitched 2+ innings yesterday. You'd expect that he's going to get the second game off, as it's now 1-1, as that breaking ball right in there on Anchia. It's 1-2 now. The Gatemen only have 8 more outs to work with all of a sudden here in this 7-inning game. They're down by 2. And we've mentioned these close, low-scoring games have just not gone their way all season. And that one swung on and missed. Anchia chasing that one way out of the zone. The 7th strikeout today for Baum here in the 5th. And the Gatemen now, with 2 outs here in the 5th, need something to start happening in their favor. And Blake Sable has to get it started.
Yeah, and you mentioned the close games, and really the only close game you can point to where Wareham had success was against Falmouth in the home opener, and that was a walk-off win where really just things went right for him at the end.
Right to the shortstop, a jumping grab by the shortstop, Max Burt. A pretty good play over there for the Harwich shortstop. And the side is retired. 1, 2, 3. Once again, that is 12 straight retired for Tyler Baum. We'll go to the top half of the sixth. The Gatemen trail the Mariners 3-1 here on WCTV. Welcome back here in the Gatemen now. Trying to get something going. Matt Vierling from Notre Dame is going to lead off this top half of the sixth inning. They need a good inning of work here from the lefty Riley Gates, who works from the stretch.
Yeah, he works from the stretch every single pitch he throws.
That pitch in there for a strike. So Riley Gates, who gave up that leadoff walk, recovered nicely for Wareham back in the fifth inning, retiring the next three batters. That changeup up high, out in front of it was Vierling, and it's 0-2. Vierling coming out of Notre Dame here to Harwich. 7 home runs, 42 runs batted in for the Fighting Irish this season. Last summer played for the Madison Mallards of the Northwoods League. 20 runs, 17 RBIs as he swings and misses, goes down on strikes. And Riley Gates with his second strikeout of the game.
It's been interesting to watch really Wareham pitching throughout the season. It's really been just maybe 1-2 pitchers in a game that let up a couple runs, and that's it. It's not been the same pitcher every single time. It's been different pitchers, so it's hard to find consistency for Jim Lawler.
Kyler Murray steps in, takes a ball in the dirt. We mentioned Murray, one of the most unique athletes in this Cape Cod League. Backup quarterback for Oklahoma Sooners football, and now here in the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Another final for today, Orleans defeating Cotuit 6-4 in the first game of their doubleheader.
Harwich fans would love to hear that as another Eastern Conference or Eastern Division rival goes down in Orleans, and another win for a Western Division team.
Yeah, both these teams so far early on in the season, not exactly at the top of the standings. Wareham second to last in the West Division, and then Harwich last place in the East Division.
Grounded to third, played by McIver, on to first to Sable, and easily retired is Kyler Murray, 5-3. Brad Debo is the next hitter. If we recall all the way back in the second inning, Brad Debo sent one through the uprights in center field, probably at about 430 feet. We'll get the info on StatCast from our baseball ops in between games and probably report that to you in the second game.
Yeah, they finally got that field goal too. Now I have the 3 runs.
This one's driven out into the gap in left field and in for a base hit. That's right field, excuse me.
Still confused here. I mean, you can spend days up here in the WCTV booth, but we're in left field right now. It's just confusing to see the game from a different side. Usually we're behind the plate where we can see everything a little bit clearer and say, hey, this is left is right. Now right is left is right, center is backward. It's all confusing for me up here.
You'd think I'd know by now with John Topa out here in left. He's been playing left almost every single game for Wareham. That ball Breaking ball on the outside corner, 0-1 on Jordan Verdon, the first baseman.
Another game about to go final. Hyannis up 8-1 right now. Make that 8-5, excuse me. A grand slam just happened as I was talking.
Wow, that is some great timing there. Who hit the grand slam for the Chatham Anglers there?
Give me 1 second. That would be, if my my stats would work, that would be one Shea Langoliers. So big, now only 1 out for Chatham in the top of the 7th, working with only 2 outs left, but it's a 3-run game now.
Back to the action here. Grounded through the left side for a base hit. Right side, excuse me. And played by Bonfield pretty slowly. Advancing to third on the play is Debo. As I'm once again getting my rights and lefts confused. Runners on the corners here with 2 outs for the Mariners.
From here, you're getting it right. That's the problem, man. It really is a tough game. We might need to, next time we're here, might need to bring a mirror with us. Large mirror on the other side of the field to get everything right.
If I actually had played baseball in the past few years and was used to playing in the outfield, I would know my left field and right fields pretty easily. But since I haven't played baseball in a while, maybe since Little League back in 7th or 8th grade, that's why I really can't get my lefts and rights better, because I remember playing left field because I was one of the worst players on my team, playing out in the outfield back in middle school, and always being stuck out in left field. And I remember this being left field where John Tope was standing. This one's a base hit, and the Mariners take a 4-1 lead on Max Burt's RBI single.
Well, there is that hit to left field, and it's been a struggle today for Wareham pitching just to get out of the inning. Hasn't been big hits. Obviously, you have the home run from Debo, but they made up that run the next half inning. It's just been little timely hits. It's that small ball that Don Sneddon keeps talking about for Wareham to do, and right now it's being pushed right back at him.
Yep, and Brad Debo scores on that play. Max Burt with an RBI single. The shortstop, that's his first RBI of the season, so gets that weight off his shoulders. He was 2 for 16 coming into today, was 2 for 18 going into that at bat. And the count now 1-0 as Riley Gates, who had 2 outs in this inning, was looking like another solid inning from him, has all of a sudden given up 1 run, and Harwich threatening with 2 runners on here in the 6th. And the Gatemen, reminder, only have 6 more outs to work with in this shortened format of a doubleheader.
Another final throughout the doubleheaders today. Yarmouth Dennis, 14-3 at home over Falmouth. So a nice little offensive display for them in the first game of the doubleheader.
14 runs in 7 innings. Pretty impressive there from Yarmouth Dennis. As the lefty Gates deals to Andrew Moritz, it's fouled away. Moritz is 2 for 2. Singled in the first, singled in the third, and scored, and then walked in the 5th. He's been everything you want out of a leadoff guy today for the Harwich Mariners. Out of UNC Greensboro, we mentioned, led the Southern Conference with a 400 batting average, which is whopping 400 batting average, that is. This one's driven out to center field. Bloop play, and coming on to make the play is Tanner Dotson to retire the side here in the 6th. But with 2 outs in the inning, the Harwich Mariners score 1 run on 3 hits, no errors, and they leave 2 men on base. We'll go to the bottom half. It's 4-1 Harwich here on WCTV. Welcome back here. It's the bottom half of the 6th inning. The Gatemen at 4-7 right now would really like to turn this one around, as they're in danger of dropping another game here. This one will be their 3rd loss in 4 games if Harwich is able to hold this lead. This pitch is outside.
I kept mentioning that game in Hyannis and how there was the Grand Slam as I was doing the update. Now it is final, 8-5, Hyannis wins.
That pitch also just outside, and it's 2-0, I believe. The pitcher still for Harwich is Tyler Baum. This is his 6th inning of work, and that one's in there for a strike.
It's been absolutely solid all day long. It's definitely tough if you're Wareham, you know. We've mentioned before about working up pitch counts. Well, it's really hard when the pitcher is just dealing so well.
This one's driven out the other way. A line drive right to the right fielder in Veerling, and there's one down here in the 6th inning.
And this is what it's been, just a few pitches. Hey, you think you might be getting ahead of the count, you might be getting the pitcher's number, not so fast. Tyler Baum's been absolutely phenomenal all day today, and it makes it really tough if you're Wareham to get anything going. And you want to try and get to the bullpen, see a different face, maybe someone that isn't as pristine as Baum is right now, but you can't do it right now the way he's pitching.
Baum's breaking ball has been good, but that fastball has been the go-to pitch all day for him. This one's grounded through the left side, through the right side for a base hit by Tanner Dodson, and the Gatemen have their first hit of the inning, trying to mount a rally here with 5 outs to work with. And they have the top of the order back up. That's what you want to do if you're a 9-hitter in Tanner Dodson. Just get on base. Doesn't matter how you do it. That one, a nicely placed ball through the right side of the infield between the second baseman Vance and the first baseman Verdon.
Yeah, our Claudio Chikemi was talking to Don Snen the other day, and he was saying, and we were asking him, hey, you know, it's been not the best start to the season, but what's been different after that big win against Orleans at home? He said, we got the top of our order coming, and now that they're here, everything's better.
Jaron Duran is 0 for 2 out of Long Beach State.
Not at the top of the orders here. He said, if we were starting to lose with them, now I'm a little concerned. Well, the past couple of games, they haven't been getting any offensive production from the top of that order, so maybe a little bit concerned now for the head man.
Duran at Long Beach State went 7 for 17 in the regionals this year. Long Beach State advanced to the Super Regionals but lost to Cal State Fullerton. Cal State Fullerton advanced to the College World Series, but they also lost, and with that, a foe out in the West Coast Conference, I believe, and Brett Canine is going to be coming here for the Gatemen this week, as it's now 1-2 on Duran on that swing and miss, as it seems like Baum is just blowing it by these batters with that fastball, pitch after pitch. He can just keep chucking that fastball as much as he wants, and it's working very well for him.
Yeah, it's not something you want to see. You know, if you're a batter, you want to be able to catch up the fastballs, maybe the breaking stuff a little bit tougher to reach.
Swing and a miss by Duran on a fastball once again, just blowing it by every single batter here. And Duran's down on strikes, the second out of this inning, and he's 0 for 3. Kyle Kasser has also struck out today, and he's now at bat, with the Gatemen trying to mount a late rally here, as they're running out of time here in Game 1 of this doubleheader against the Harwich Mariners.
Wouldn't be the first time that they had a late inning rally, especially here at Spillane Field, as they did against Falmouth in the home opener, but that was a 2-run game. This one, a 3-run game.
Kasser, one of the few rising seniors in this Gatemen lineup, takes a ball on a off-speed pitch up high, 1-0. But if you're Tyler Baum, I would just keep going back to that fastball, just keep firing it in there, as he's clearly troubling these Gatemen hitters with that 95, 94 mile an hour fastball. That one's outside on a changeup, 2-0.
Yeah, and even if the hit's given up right now, this isn't the guy at bat isn't the one you're worried about, because let's say he's a Kasser who's not a huge power hitter, hits a home run. Well, guess what? It's still a 1-run game, and you still have another run to work with, and you have your bullpen that you have to rely on.
That one's fouled away into the brick wall over there.
Yeah, still missing all the windows, so no broken glass just yet. But if Wareham were to lose this game, they would fall to last place in the West Division.
For now.
For now, and his doubleheader could change in a matter of a couple hours.
But they have to go through the mighty Dylan Grove before they get that win in the second game. That one's fouled away. down towards the road that runs alongside Spillane Field here. Kyle Kasser, 2015, played for one of the greatest of the summer collegiate teams, the El Dorado Broncos of the Jayhawk League. Hit .364 with 12 RBIs.
A little bit of a different environment here at the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Yes, going from El Dorado, Kansas out here is quite a difference. This one's slapped out the other way, and it's going to drop for a base hit. Advancing to second is Dodson. Stopping at first is Castor with a single. And now the Gatemen with another runner in scoring position. That's just their second one of those today. Here in the 6th inning, they still have 2 outs in the inning, though.
This is a familiar sight, though, if you're a Gatemen fan. Tristan Pompey coming to bat. Men on first and second, 2 outs. Sounds similar to his first home run back a couple of days ago when he had his debut. So if you're a Gatemen fan, you're hoping for something similar to that. However, since that beautiful game, he hasn't gotten a single hit, hasn't even reached first base. So that's a little troubling if you're a Gatemen fan.
Kasser is now 3 for 10 in this season, as here comes the Harwich manager to pull the plug on Tyler Baum, as he has gone quite the game today. 5 2/3 innings as Harwich.
Doesn't look like a pitching change right now. Just a little conversation, get everything settled down.
Well, I assumed too quickly, I guess, because we haven't really seen a pitcher go this deep into the games yet this season, as it looks like Baum is going to stay in.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal today. Maybe just, hey, just reminding you have Tristan Pompey coming up. A couple games ago, he was that phenomenal. Just remind him, hey, I want to be a little careful. Don't give him anything that he's going to blast, because you give him something over the middle, and it's going over the right field fence.
Pompey from the left side of the batter's box. We know that he can hit from both, but has been on that left side against these righty batters, as that one's low, 1-0 on Tristan Pompey.
And it's certainly not an easy task to go if you're going to try and walk Pompey or try and get around him, because Willie McIver has probably been the best bat for Wareham this season, is right behind him.
McIver is 1 for 2 behind him, including that double in the 2nd inning. That one's on the outside corner. Pompey does not like it.
That looked like it was pretty down the middle, though, and I think that one could have been a pitch that he could have hit, at least gotten through the middle and gotten a run in.
1-1 on Tristan Pompey, second in the league in the SEC this year in runs scored. That one's fouled away.
Now, 2-strike hitting is, you got to be a little more defensive, but still, if you're Pompey, he's a guy that clearly knows now he can hit it out. You have to wonder if his eyes are still set on getting it past these fences out here, these deep fences in Spillane Field. Not the easiest place to hit a home run.
The Mississauga, Ontario native is facing the righty, Tyler Baum, who we have not seen from the stretch much today, but here he is in that formation. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. Pompey once again looks on. He's down for the 2nd time today. The Gatemen get no runs on 2 hits, no errors, and leave 2 men on. We'll go to the top half of the 7th, the final inning here on WCTV. Riley Gates gives up 1 earned run on 3 hits in his 2 innings of work, the lefty out of BYU. Replaced by yet another lefty, this time out of Davenport College in Michigan. It's Grant Wolfram. And he's facing the right-handed batter, Travis Monio, here in the top half of the 7th inning. The Mariners in a 4-1 lead.
Grant Wolfram coming off a great outing, 1-2-3 scoreless in his last outing.
One of those D2 guys that made the team out of the preseason. That one's inside 1-1. Wolfram, a tall stature, the lefty, had a 13-2 win-loss record with a 3.28 ERA for Davenport. This one on the that one's outside, 2-1. You know, if I hate to sound biased here, but that pitch looked a bit over the plate, kind of similar to those pitches on the outside corner that Pompey was not liking. That one's fouled away, but that was just an honest opinion of where I see the strike zone as. A little bit inconsistent from the home plate umpire trope today.
I was having a conversation with my housemates, a couple of the baseball operations guys last night, and I was telling them, look, if you're an umpire, if you're going to call something a strike, it's got to stay a strike. So if it's on the outside corner, even if the batters don't like it, it's got to stay consistent. That's a nice thing you've seen from a few of these Cape League umpires, just consistency.
That one ran inside on Monio, and it's 3-2 now on him.
Of course, we were talking about this, watching the final game of the semifinal of the College World Series, where Florida was able to defeat TCU 3-0. It's going to be an all-SEC College World Series final between LSU and Florida.
Monio out of Orange Coast Community College. This one flown out into center field, and Dodson's right there to make the play. And the first out of this 7th inning.
And the Gatemen not really complaining too much about having LSU win, because now they're going to get Stephen Kwan in the next few days.
Absolutely. 2 former Gatemen on that LSU team that's headed to the College World Series final. That will be Kramer Robertson. Kramer Robertson was the only player in the SEC this year to score more runs than Tristan Pompey, as well as Cole Freeman out there. Most of the time, it's been a 1-2 punch at the top of the order for those guys, so impressive stuff for 2 former Gatemen heading to the finals of the College World Series, taking on a fellow SEC foe in a big football rivalry out there, LSU, Florida. 0-1 to Vance. Grounded to third, McIver plays it and fires over to Sable in time for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, you mentioned Grant Wolfram earlier. You mentioned that he's a Division II pitcher, but now really the past couple outings has been coming into his own. Maybe just a couple outings just get used to his D1 hitting now that we're going up against. But now coming in, past couple outings, it's 5 straight outs for him, and he's just been phenomenal dealing.
Wolfram was drafted by the Tigers out of high school. He has D1 talent. He went to Central Michigan, played for the Chippewas for a year or 2, and then transferred to the Davenport College in Grand Rapids, Michigan. 1-0. And this is Ryan Ogren, the designated hitter for the Mariners out of Elon University. That one's
Blakely Brown warming up in the bullpen right now. You might just think that, hey, he's looking a little bit towards the next game. Justin Montgomery starting for Wareham.
2-0. That one up high, outside, 3-0 from Wolfram on Ogren, who went .350 this year with 21 doubles for the Elon, whatever their name is.
I'm going to go look that up.
I feel like it's something that has to do with heat or like, I don't know. That one very low, but they call it a strike.
You were right on heat. Is they're the Phoenix.
The Phoenix. That's a great name, the Elon Phoenix.
Very close to the Demon Deacon, so a very fiery area in North Carolina.
That one on the inside corner as Ogren was ready to toss his bat over to the dugout, but it's 3-2 now. Ogren, 43 runs scored in 56 games. Last time the Gatemen were home, I was on the broadcast with Matt Feld talking about how runs scored is probably the most underrated statistic in baseball. And here comes the 3-2. Fouled away.
We're starting a little bit later than a couple other games around. The second of the doubleheader between Bourne and Brewster has already begun. Brewster with no lights around the field, so they got to get it started early. And Brewster already up 3-0 on Bourne as we head into the top of the second.
Brewster looks really good. They looked really good against Wareham when we visited them earlier this week.
11 runs in that game for them.
3-2, line the other way, played by Sable on his knees, and gets over to first himself to retire the side here in the top of the 7th. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left. The Gatemen have 3 outs to work with. They trail by 3 here on WCTV. Bottom half of the 7th inning, and Tyler Baum still out on the mound for the Harwich Mariners. He's about to try to get this complete game for the Harwich Mariners. No one in the bullpen for the away team right now, as William McIver is a guy that you want to start off this inning, and he's going to lead it off here in the 7th.
William McIver, the only one that's been able to do damage to Tyler Baum, and it wasn't even all his fault. A pitch that the catcher couldn't handle, and that's why McIver got home.
Baum has been lights out, has given up 3 hits through 6 innings of work so far. This is a 7-inning game, and here the Gatemen stand in the bottom half of the 7th. And that pitch is high on McIver, 1-0 on the University of Washington product.
McIver just giving himself a second right now. I mean, Wareham, though, needs a few more seconds because they need to at least recover, get something going, at least get a run going so in the second game you build a momentum heading to the second game of the doubleheader.
The 2-0 to McIver. Right in there for a strike.
Nice frame there by Debo.
It was a nice frame, but it looked like it was on the high corner there on McIver. That one's in there for a strike. So continuing his outing is Tyler Baum, just throwing strikes. You'd like to see the Gatemen swing at some more of these pitches. We've seen a lot of strikeouts looking. A few have gone down looking, and also just taking a lot of pitches that are pretty good pitches to hit in the zone. This one's driven the other way and right to the second baseman Vance, over to Verdon, and 1 down here in the 7th. The Gatemen need 3 runs and only 2 outs to work with.
Yeah, framing. One of the really something that isn't talked about enough in the game of baseball now. You see catchers more and more getting into that, to doing that, and you see certain catchers just so good at that. Yadier Molina, Buster Posey at the pro level, and it's something that all players should be working on if you're a catcher, because to save strikes and get your pitchers to work a little bit less, and you've seen that today with Baum.
The pitch to Luke Bonfield is low, and it's 1-0 on the Razorback. Bonfield coming into this at-bat 5 for 25, which is good for a 200 batting average. That one's on the inside corner. 1-1 on Bonfield. 4 RBIs this year. 3 of them on that home run back in Hyannis. This one's lined into left field for a base hit by Bonfield, and that's what the Gatemen need, is that first base runner here in the 7th. They still need at least 1 more base runner before they have a chance to tie this game.
Yeah, this is a good guy to have at the bat, though, Jake Anchia, who hit a home run here a couple days ago. Sorry, it was here, excuse me. Hit a home run here a couple days ago, and that's always nice to see that someone else besides Tristan Pompey has power. We've seen now 5 home runs here at Spillane Field. There's only about 4 last year all season.
Anchia tied for the Gatemen lead in home runs. This one's popped straight up, and playing it is the second baseman Vance, 2 out. So Anchia, a pretty swift at bat for him, and all of a sudden the Gatemen down to their final out here in Wareham.
Looked like he was taking the hack right there to get the home run and just got a little under it. He didn't get on the barrel of the bat, just got on the top half of the bat, and that'll do it with all that power he has way up in the air.
So Tyler Baum is 1 out away from a complete game shutout, or not shutout, we gave up that run, a complete game here against Wareham. This one gets away from the catcher, Debo, and advancing to second is Luke Bonfield, but that run does not matter for Wareham, nor does Sable. It's really the guy behind him, John Topa, that needs to come across and score if the Gatemen want a chance to win this game.
Yeah, Debo just kind of just relaxed way of getting that ball, kind of just relaxing everyone, saying, hey, you know, it's all right if we give up that run. The guy on second, that's fine. We just got to get through the rest of the inning, make sure that on-deck hitter doesn't tie the game.
Baum deals the 1-0 grounded through the left side and on to first. The Harwich Mariners win this game by a final score of 4-1. A complete game, 4-hit, 1-run performance for the pitcher Tyler Baum out of North Carolina. Really impressive stuff for him. He improves to 1-1 on the season, and his ERA is going to drop right down to about 1.00 this year. He's been really good for the Mariners so far this year. They get a good win here in Game 1, and now a big game coming up for Wareham, even bigger than it would have been had they won it.
Yeah, now they're in, well, for one thing, it's early in the season, but they're last place in the West Division now after Hyannis won their first game. But mainly, it's just a little bit deflating performance. The top of the order right now for Wareham hasn't been doing much. They only had, I believe, one hit by Kyle Kasser, and that's about all the performance they've had from that top of the lineup that Don Snedden's been so high on. So now you're looking at a team that's a little deflated after a big win. They've had 3 games where they've had double-digit runs. Besides that, this has been a team that's struggled offensively, and you've seen it. 4 runs by your pitching isn't the worst thing in the world. Your offense has to come out and give you some support, though. And besides Willie McIver, no one's been doing that so far for Wareham, and it's deflating if you're the rest of the team, especially the pitching staff and the bullpen.
Yeah, McIver's run in the second inning was driven in by a wild pitch by the pitcher Baum, so no RBIs for the Gatemen today in this game. A pretty poor hitting performance to follow up a pretty bad one in Falmouth as well yesterday, but they have a chance to recover in about 30 minutes when they take on the Harwich Mariners for Game 2 of this doubleheader.
Yeah, that's really one of the nice things about these doubleheaders is you have that bad taste in your mouth, but immediately you can come out and fix that. You have a brand new pitcher on the mound, you have a little bit of a different lineup, and you have guys now looking to get a little revenge. Especially, I mean, Harwich came into this game, they got blown out the last time they played Wareham, so they were coming in with a bad taste in their mouth. Now you're the other way around. You got to come back and remember, hey, this is a team we beat by about 8 runs. We scored double digits on just last week. We can come out and do this. There's a little bit of different players out there, but you got to come out with a little bit of energy. If you're Don Sten, you got to be saying, hey, we got to come out and kind of just get your heads back in the game. They didn't look completely focused. Not everyone, I always like to see some motivation from players. Not everyone as disappointed as you'd like to see coming out of it. So you want to see a little bit of a better performance from the Wareham Gatemen in total, which you can see. You know they can do it. They've scored double-digit runs 3 times this season. They can come out and do it, but it's not going to be easy against Dylan Grove and the Harwich pitching staff that obviously it's only been one pitch here, but they've looked phenomenal today.
We thank you for listening to this Gatemen broadcast here on WCTV. The Mariners defeat the Wareham Gatemen by a final score of 4-1. Joined by our color commentator today, Matt Weaselther. I'm sorry, I keep butchering it. I'd like to